Here are the true, disturbing horror stories of living with a roommate. From the seemingly normal to the downright sinister, these tales will send chills down your spine. What happens when the person you share your home with hides a dark secret? Let's dive into these unsettling accounts and find out. Number 1. The Silence of the Shadows. The case of Jameson and Henry. Jameson was excited to start a new chapter in his life as a college student, moving into a shared apartment with his new roommate, Henry. Henry seemed like a quiet, introverted individual who kept to himself most of the time, which suited Jameson just fine. Over the first few weeks, Jameson began to notice strange behaviors from Henry, such as talking to himself in hushed whispers late at night. One evening, Jameson woke up to find Henry standing silently at the foot of his bed, staring intently at him in the darkness. When questioned, Henry simply smiled and walked away, offering no explanation for his eerie behavior. The apartment was often filled with unsettling noises at night, like the sound of fingernails scratching against the walls. Jameson discovered peculiar symbols carved into the walls of Henry's room, resembling ancient runes or occult markings. One morning, Jameson found a small, crudely made doll placed on his pillow, its eyes replaced with black buttons. The doll appeared to be an effigy, and Jameson couldn't shake the feeling that it was meant as a sinister warning. Jameson started noticing personal items going missing, only to reappear in different parts of the apartment, often in Henry's room. He once found a blood-stained handkerchief hidden under Henry's mattress, its origin unknown and deeply troubling. Conversations with Henry grew increasingly bizarre, with Henry speaking in cryptic phrases that made little sense. Henry's fascination with the occult became more apparent as he started leaving strange books and artifacts around the apartment. One night, Jameson heard chanting coming from Henry's room, the words unintelligible but undeniably malevolent. Disturbed by the relentless tension, Jameson began sleeping with his door locked, fearing what Henry might do next. Henry's demeanor grew darker, his once mild presence now exuding an aura of menace and hostility. Jameson received an anonymous letter warning him to leave the apartment before it was too late, heightening his sense of dread. The final straw came when Jameson found a knife under his pillow, the blade smeared with what appeared to be blood. Realizing he was in immediate danger, Jameson fled the apartment in the dead of night, leaving everything behind. To this day, Jameson wonders what might have happened if he had stayed. Did Henry's dark intentions ever come to fruition with another unsuspecting roommate? What would you have done in Jameson's situation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Number 2. Rebecca and the Mysterious Disappearances. Rebecca moved into a charming old house with 2 roommates, Sarah and Alex, who seemed friendly and welcoming. The house had a history of tenants leaving unexpectedly, but Rebecca brushed off these stories as mere coincidences. As weeks passed, Rebecca noticed that Sarah often disappeared for hours at a time, returning with a haunted look in her eyes. Alex started exhibiting erratic behavior, talking about seeing shadowy figures in the house and hearing voices. One night, Rebecca woke up to the sound of sobbing, only to find Sarah sitting on the kitchen floor, rocking back and forth. Sarah's explanations for her distress were incoherent, filled with references to them and the others who were supposedly watching. Rebecca began experiencing disturbing dreams where she was trapped in the house, unable to escape the dark presence within. Strange occurrences became commonplace, such as doors slamming shut on their own and lights flickering ominously. One evening, Rebecca found a note slipped under her door, warning her to get out before it's too late. The note was unsigned, but the handwriting was shaky and desperate, adding to her growing unease. Rebecca started hearing footsteps in the attic, despite being certain that no one else was up there. She discovered an old journal hidden in the attic, filled with accounts of previous tenants experiencing similar horrors. The journal detailed how one by one tenants vanished without a trace, leaving behind only their personal belongings. Rebecca's fear grew as she noticed that both Sarah and Alex seemed to be avoiding her, whispering to each other in hushed tones. The tension in the house reached a breaking point when Alex disappeared without a word, leaving behind all his possessions. Sarah's behavior became increasingly erratic, her eyes hollow and filled with terror whenever Rebecca tried to speak to her. One night, Rebecca found Sarah frantically packing her bags, insisting that they were coming for her next. Before Rebecca could understand what was happening, Sarah fled the house, never to be seen again. Left alone in the now eerily silent house, Rebecca felt a chilling sense of foreboding as she began to see shadowy figures herself. Desperate to escape, Rebecca packed her belongings and left, vowing never to return to the house that had claimed so many lives. Would you have stayed to uncover the mystery or fled at the first sign of danger? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 3. The Cursed Portrait. Emily and the Haunting of Apartment 3 Billion. Emily was thrilled to move into her new apartment, a cozy unit in a historic building that had stood for over a century. Her roommate Rachel seemed nice enough, although she had an odd fixation on a large, antique portrait that hung in the living room. The portrait depicted a stern-looking man with piercing eyes, and Rachel claimed it had been in the apartment since she moved in. Emily initially thought nothing of the portrait, but soon began to feel uneasy whenever she passed by it. One night, Emily woke up to find Rachel standing in front of the portrait, staring at it with an unsettling intensity. Rachel's obsession with the portrait grew as she spent hours each day gazing at it and muttering to herself. Emily began to hear whispers late at night, seeming to emanate from the portrait, though she could never make out the words. The apartment started to feel colder, the air thick with a sense of foreboding and unease. Objects in the apartment moved on their own, often found in different places than where Emily remembered leaving them. Emily started experiencing vivid nightmares involving the man in the portrait, his eyes following her wherever she went. Rachel's behavior became increasingly erratic, her health deteriorating as she grew pale and withdrawn. Emily discovered that previous tenants had left abruptly, their reasons shrouded in mystery and fear. One night, Emily woke up to find Rachel standing by her bed, holding a knife and chanting in a language she didn't recognize. The next morning, Rachel claimed to have no memory of the incident, dismissing it as a bad dream. Emily found old newspaper clippings detailing the history of the building, including a series of unexplained deaths linked to the portrait. The man in the portrait was revealed to be the building's original owner, rumored to have dabbled in dark rituals and the occult. Emily's attempts to remove the portrait were met with inexplicable resistance, as if an unseen force was preventing its removal. Rachel's condition worsened, her eyes now hollow and lifeless, as if she were under the portrait's spell. The final straw came when Emily found a message scrawled in red on her bedroom wall: "Leave or suffer his fate." Fearing for her life, Emily fled the apartment, leaving behind the cursed portrait and the horrors it had brought into her life. Would you have dared to confront the sinister presence or escaped as quickly as possible? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Number 4. The Room with No Return. Mike and the Vanishing Door. Mike moved into a small but affordable apartment, happy to find a place in the city close to his work. His roommate, Todd, was a quiet and seemingly normal guy, always keeping to himself in his room. One day, Mike noticed an odd door in the hallway that he hadn't seen before, half hidden behind a tall bookshelf. When he asked Todd about the door, Todd's face turned pale, and he quickly changed the subject, refusing to discuss it. Mike's curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to move the bookshelf to get a closer look at the door. The door had no handle and seemed to be painted shut, but Mike felt an inexplicable urge to open it. Late at night, Mike began hearing strange noises coming from behind the door, like whispers and faint scratching. One evening, Mike found a set of old keys in a drawer, one of which seemed to fit the lock on the mysterious door. As soon as he unlocked the door, A gust of cold air swept through the apartment, and the whispers grew louder. The room behind the door was empty, but it had an oppressive atmosphere, as if something terrible had happened there. Mike noticed scratch marks on the inside of the door and walls, as if someone had desperately tried to escape. Objects in the apartment started moving on their own, and Mike frequently felt like he was being watched. Todd's behavior became more erratic, and he began sleepwalking, often ending up in front of the mysterious door. Mike tried to lock the door again, but it seemed to resist, and the key disappeared, leaving the door ajar. One night, Mike woke up to find Todd missing from his room, the mysterious door wide open. He entered the room and found Todd standing in the corner, facing the wall, whispering to an unseen presence. Todd turned to Mike with vacant eyes, mumbling about the room with no return and how it had claimed many before. The room felt like it was closing in on Mike, and he heard distant screams echoing through the walls. Desperate to escape, Mike pulled Todd out of the room and slammed the door shut, vowing never to open it again. Mike moved out the next day, leaving the apartment and its horrifying secret behind. He often wonders what lies beyond that door, and if anyone else will succumb to its malevolent pull. Would you have risked opening the mysterious door, or ignored it completely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 5. The Evil Within. Anna and the Possessed Roommate. Anna was thrilled to start her new job and move into a spacious apartment with her roommate, Kelly. Kelly was a friendly and outgoing person, but she had a strange habit of locking herself in her room for hours on end. One evening, Anna heard loud thuds and screams coming from Kelly's room, as if she were having a violent fit. When Anna finally got the door open, she found Kelly unconscious on the floor, with deep scratch marks on her arms. Kelly brushed off the incident, claiming she had no memory of what had happened and that it must have been a nightmare. Over the next few weeks, Anna noticed that Kelly's behavior was becoming increasingly erratic and hostile. Kelly started having violent outbursts, often speaking in a guttural voice that didn't sound like her own. Anna found strange symbols and drawings hidden under Kelly's mattress, resembling ancient occult markings. One night, Anna woke up to find Kelly standing at the foot of her bed, her eyes black and filled with malice. Kelly began speaking in tongues, her voice low and menacing, as if possessed by some dark entity. The atmosphere in the apartment grew heavy with an ominous presence, and Anna started experiencing terrifying nightmares. Objects in the apartment began to move on their own, and the lights flickered whenever Kelly was in a rage. Anna sought help from a priest, who performed a blessing on the apartment, but the disturbances only intensified. Kelly's condition worsened, her body contorting in unnatural ways, and her voice growing deeper and more malevolent. One evening, Anna found Kelly performing a dark ritual in the living room, surrounded by candles and chanting in an ancient language. The ritual seemed to summon a dark force as the temperature dropped and shadows flickered on the walls. Anna tried to intervene, but an unseen force threw her across the room, leaving her shaken and terrified. Kelly's eyes turned completely black, and she began to levitate, her body twisting in midair. Desperate to escape, Anna fled the apartment and contacted an exorcist, hoping to save her friend from the evil within. The exorcist arrived and performed a grueling ritual, finally freeing Kelly from the dark entity that had possessed her. Kelly never fully recovered, and Anna moved out, haunted by the memories of the evil that had consumed her roommate. Would you have stayed to help your friend or fled at the first sign of possession? Leave your answer in the comments below. Number 6. The Creeping Dread. Tyler and the Cursed Painting. Tyler moved into a charming old house with his new roommate, Ben, excited for a fresh start in a new city. The house was filled with antique furniture and decorations, giving it a unique and slightly eerie atmosphere. In the living room hung a large painting of a woman with dark, hollow eyes, which Ben claimed had always been there. Tyler felt uneasy around the painting, as if the woman's eyes followed him wherever he went. Over time, Tyler noticed strange occurrences in the house, such as cold spots and unexplained noises at night. One evening, Tyler found Ben standing in front of the painting, staring at it with an intense and unsettling expression. Ben began to act strangely, spending hours gazing at the painting and talking to it as if it were a real person. The atmosphere in the house grew increasingly oppressive, and Tyler started having vivid nightmares about the woman in the painting. Tyler discovered old documents in the attic that revealed the painting's dark history, including the mysterious deaths of previous owners. The woman in the painting was rumored to be a witch who had cursed the painting with her dying breath. As the days passed, Ben's behavior became more erratic, and he started hearing voices that no one else could hear. Tyler found a hidden diary in the attic that detailed the experiences of a previous tenant who had been driven mad by the painting. The diary warned of the painting's power to corrupt and possess those who gazed into its eyes for too long. Tyler tried to remove the painting from the wall, but it seemed to be stuck fast, as if an unseen force was holding it in place. One night, Tyler woke up to find Ben missing, the painting hanging askew and the house filled with an eerie silence. Tyler followed a trail of muddy footprints to the basement, where he found Ben sitting in the dark, chanting in a strange language. Ben's eyes were hollow and lifeless, and he spoke of the woman in the painting as if she were his master. Desperate to save his friend, Tyler sought out a local historian who specialized in the occult, hoping to break the painting's curse. The historian performed a cleansing ritual, but the painting seemed to resist, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. In a final act of desperation, Tyler set the painting on fire, watching as it burned and the house filled with a chilling scream. Ben was freed from the painting's influence, but the experience left both men deeply scarred, and Tyler moved out, vowing never to return. Would you have risked destroying the painting, or sought another way to break the curse? Share your opinion in the comments below. And that's it from this video. See you in the next one.